Our Lenten study of the David stories continues tonight in the 20th chapter of Samuel. Then Joab and his men came and built a siege ramp up to the city of Abel. And while they were battering the wall to bring it down, a wise woman called from the city, "Here, here, tell Joab to come here so I can speak to him." This story is the closing chapter in the political career of David. The sordid events of this chapter are a little bit disappointing. You'd like to have a happy ending, a golden sun setting on a country full of contented and happy people. Well, the Bible's not interested in feeding our religious fantasies for how stories should come out. David's life in public ends exactly the way it began, among the blaring of war trumpets and on a bloody field of battle. It all started when the shepherd boy from Bethlehem strode out of the ranks to face the Philistine giant Goliath. And the final curtain comes down on civil war. Again. Only this time David has nobody but himself to blame. You remember the background. David's men defeated Absalom's armies of revolution on the east side, far side of the River Jordan. David carefully laid plans to get himself back on the throne in Jerusalem. He entered into secret negotiations with his clansmen from the tribe of Judah. He invited them to come down to the river and welcome him back home. He promised them that he would depose his old general Joab and in his place install Amasa, a favorite son of the tribe of Judah, commander of Absalom's army. David's plan worked, and that was the trouble. The tribesmen of Judah, as one man, trooped down to the Jordan to welcome David back. Representatives from the other tribes showed up that day, but they were snubbed, treated as strangers. What are you doing here? An angry confrontation followed. Why, they asked, have the brothers of Judah stolen the king away? One tribe makes the call, and the other 10 have no say in this matter. The men of Judah admitted that they hijacked the king because we're close relatives. Tempers flared. More angry words followed. The men of Judah were louder and fiercer, as men often are when they are in the wrong and when they are in the majority. And that explosive situation just needed a spark to set it off. And a rabble-rouser by the name of Sheba was there to provide it. Sheba was from the great tribe of Ephraim, and he starts shouting, "To your tents, O Israel! What share have we in Jesse's son? What part have we in David? We have no part. Then let David rule over his own family." And he blew a trumpet. And the reps from all the other tribes pulled out, now with Sheba as their king. And the only subjects David's got left: the tribe of Judah. It was a sorry procession into Jerusalem. Here you got David, Amasa, the new commander, and only his kinfolk from Judah. Now everybody knew somebody's got to pursue Sheba and stop him before he gets that revolution rolling and further divides an already disintegrating country. David gave Amasa 3 days to round up an army and get it done. Now, I don't know if that guy was incompetent or if nobody trusted him, which would figure, but the third day came and the third day went, and no Amasa. David's got no recourse now but to turn back to old reliable Joab. But he's so ashamed of how he's treated the man behind his back that he talks and makes the appeal to Abishai, his personal bodyguard, Joab's brother. And suddenly, once Joab's back in the saddle, the soldiers are coming out of the woodwork. And Joab's got an army to march in no time at all, following the tracks of Sheba. When they get to Gibeon, guess who they meet coming from the other direction? But Amasa. And the guy is so startled to see an army that was supposed to be his army and somebody else running it, that he lost all presence of mind. And in the confusion of the moment, he never even saw the dagger in Joab's left hand till it was too late. One thrust, skilled and ruthless as Joab was, and Amasa lay wallowing in the pool of his own blood in the middle of the road. And Joab let him lie there, a warning to all who follow. And he left the guardsmen there. Well, pick a side. This guy picked the wrong one. I don't have to tell you, a lot of people are upset by stories like this. Even people in the church. I don't want to hear this kind of stuff. I want to hear about David and Goliath. I want to hear about David's 23rd Psalm. If this is the good book, and if God is in control, why is stuff like this going on? I can't read the Bible. It's too full of violence. That's exactly why Christians do it. The Bible describes the world that you get up and face every single morning. A world of shabby morality, me-first mentality, political corruption, and violence, terrorism of every imaginable kind. And they don't get better. By the time you get to the Lenten story in the New Testament, it's all there one more time. Treachery, betrayal, behind the scenes, legalized injustice and murder in the forefront. That's why we need to hear the stories. To be reminded that in this world is exactly where God works out His saving purposes. And I don't give a rip what you do. Nobody frustrates God's plans. Still watches over His own and still punishes the wicked. How? Well, by not punishing them. He lets them do their thing. Joab and his men followed the trail north, way north, beyond Lake Merom, headwaters of the Jordan River, all the way to a walled fortress city by the name of Abel. And the terrified citizens of Abel are watching while the war machine of Joab methodically goes about their business, and they're good at this. piling up earth as a siege ramp to pound on the top of the walls with their battering rams. And during a lull in the action, a clear voice of a woman carried from high on the wall. Here, go tell Joab I want to meet him. Now this is a strange confrontation. Old woman, streaks of gray in her hair, and the meanest, toughest combat veteran in the army, Joab. Nobody planned on this. She says, "Are you Joab, the mighty warrior of whom I have heard so much, whose very name means, 'But God is our Father'? I am. I have something to tell you. I'm listening." Does this ring a bell with anybody? As though you may have heard all this before, because you have. I don't even think Joab remembers at that moment. But he once orchestrated a scene just like this himself. He went and got a wise woman from Tekoa near Bethlehem to talk to David when David's heart was hard and bent on destruction. Nobody could talk to him. And that wise woman from Tekoa got through to David where nobody else could. And now the situation's reversed. Joab is in David's place, bent on destruction. And now another woman is talking to him. How strangely these lives of ours play out. What do they say? What goes around comes around. The Bible puts it this way: whatever you sow, that's what you're going to reap. And Joab once did good in getting a woman to talk sense into David's head. And that all comes back to Joab now as a blessing. The woman continues. Long ago, they said, get your answers at Abel. Far back as anybody can remember. Our city is known for wisdom, and it's true. And now, Joab, you've come to destroy a faithful city. You came to destroy a mother in Israel and her children who are the children of God. No, that ain't the case, Joab says. No, it's a guy by the name of Sheba, tribe of Beth. He's raised up his hand against the king, against David. We're after him. Well, why didn't you say so? Or ask? And she disappears. Confers with the elders of the city. And the next thing you see is the severed head of Sheba sailing over the wall, rolling on the ground to Joab's feet. Campaign's over. Minimum of casualties. Second rebellion against David defeated. Once again, Joab has defied King David's orders, and once again, Joab saves King David's kingdom. And don't ask me to figure that out for you. There's one other little thing. If you've been following along in this story, you have to have noticed how often some woman steps between David and disaster, between David and death. Right at the start, there was Michal, Saul's daughter, who saved David's life from the murderous rage of her own father. Then there was Abigail, who threw herself between a vengeful David and a deed that he would never forget the rest of his life. And then there was the wise woman from David's home territory who convinced him when he wasn't listening to anybody else, not even the voice of his own conscience. Then there was the unnamed farm lady who risked her life to save David's life by dropping his 2 runners down into the well on the home place and hiding them from the military police. And at the end of the story, dying time, there's the lovely young woman from Shur. And she only takes care of David, while everybody else is playing another game and promoting their own self-serving agenda. How free, how resourceful, how helpful are these women of God in contrast to their heathen counterparts. They do not renounce their role in life to tell everybody how important they are. They do not usurp an authority that is not theirs. They're simply there when it counts. There where they belong. That Friday evening in Calvary, the women were there, standing afar off, beholding. They did not approve of anything that they saw. But there wasn't a doggone thing they could do about it either. But they resolved that they would give a decent burial in death to the one whom they had loved in life. And so early that Sunday morning, they come without any thought of reward or recognition. They came hopelessly when all seemed lost, in the darkest hour, when it was not easy to do so, when humanly speaking, it was too late. They never dreamed the harvest they would reap from those seeds of loyalty and devotion that they planted. They were the first to hear the good news. Resurrection! Life out of death! Life without end! Amen.